Hello, Affinity designers. You know, sometimes when you're coming up with an illustration, things just don't work out the way you intend them to. So I'm going to show you a total mess and what went wrong. I had the idea of this think while you draw, and I wanted to come up with a logo or an image to go with that. And so I thought, oh, that'd be great if we took a brain and had the brain made up by a squiggly pencil, and then the point of the pencil would come out and be drawing on the paper. That's a pretty literal way of showing thinking while drawing, having a brain that is also a big pencil mess. So started off by just thinking about how I would do that. I could either hand trace the brain, but that seemed like a lot of work. So I thought, you know, I'll just make a brush, a stretching brush that I can create and then map onto a path or several paths that mimic the shape of a brain. So here I go, I'm making a pencil, used a reference, and the part of the pencil that's going to stretch is the shaft of the pencil, those three color bars of yellow, and that way the pencil tip and the ruler are just going to hang out, and they'll just be the ends of the stroke. So I spent some time, this is just me making the pencil, and you can use your own approach. In other videos that I've made and others, this is just really just using basic shape builders and some of the masking functions in Designer. So if you've never watched my other videos of how to make a brush, this is how you do it. In this case, I'm going to have a really short brush because the repeating area is just going to be this little bit of the shaft, the three colors, the dark yellow, medium yellow, and the light yellow. So once I've created this shadow, I'm going to, there you go, I'm going to take this into the export persona. And you want to have a transparent background. So in the document setups, you want to make sure the background's transparent, because when you export this as a PNG file, you don't want anything behind. So there you go. I'm just creating a slice and exporting that. And I'm also doing it just the tip and just the eraser. So I have actually 3 brushes I'm doing. And the reason I did that was because I realized I don't want extra erasers and brushes, so then I'm pulling it into the brush maker and defining the stretch area by dragging in the head and tail. So there's my 2 of those brushes, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the eraser. I think I ended up not using the full pencil, although it's fine for other applications. So since you've done the work, you might as well make several types of brushes. So here I am squiggling, and you can see how I have multiple erasers, but I guess I'm going to cover that up with more pencil. So additionally, I could have made a 4th brush of just the 3 color bars, and that would have kept me from having to do that, but I figure I'm just going to squiggle the heck out of it, and we'll be good. So my next idea was to actually create the brain. That way I don't have to worry about gaps. And otherwise, you have to do a lot of pencil lines. But by having base colors, I can squiggle, and that way any gaps in the pencil lines will just reveal one of those 2 hemisphere colors. I think in watercolor painting, this is called underpainting. So it's kind of the same idea. You put a base color down that hides any holes in the paper. Otherwise, you get these white gaps. So there I did that. I added some shading on the left-hand side by knocking the opacity back. And then I thought I would add some shadows, deepen some of those shadows. So I'm using that same brain reference image and then just pulling them on top. And at this point, I started to recognize that this was not going to work out the way I thought it would, but I kept on going, adding a shadow on the pencil below, and then moving to the paper. So at this point, I'm just completing the concept, and I haven't spent a ton of time. That's one of the great things about that brush. Once you've created the brush, it's just a matter of, drawing the lines and applying the brush to the strokes. But I thought I'd finish it out and see where it went. But even at this point, I was not happy with how the brushes were looking. So it might be that this would be better just to go ahead and hand draw everything with the vector tools. But it was a good idea. So I completed the exercise, even though it's kind of futile at this part. I realized I wanted the brain to have already completed some of the writing, and put the shadow on just by reversing out that same pencil stroke, Gaussian blur, and adding some opacity. And I think I'm going to trap it inside that piece of paper as well. Yep. I drew this, I don't know, like 6 months ago, so I'm trying to remember what I did. I guess I wanted to show this to both cast a light on creative process, but also to show how, failures can actually be great teaching tools. It's good to know what you can do and what you can't do, or at least know what you need to work on in order to improve your final illustration. So hope you learned something. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you have questions or maybe ideas of videos you'd like to see, drop that in the comments as well. And we'll catch you next time.